masters of horror.
Welcome to the Scariest Things Podcast, your gateway to tropes and trends of the horror genre. This is spooky time. This is Mike Campbell, and I am joined by a chorus of ghosts, including
Liz Williams,
Eric Lee,
and
Robert Zilbauer.
There we are. So the whole reason we're doing Spooky Time, if you haven't joined us for Spooky Time episode 1, we're going to be doing this each and every week. This was our New Year's resolution, Liz's New Year's resolution, and we're going to keep it, by God. Most resolutions you do not keep. This one we will keep. We're going to be bringing you each week information, news, festival outings, horror information, reviews, and everything else in between in a nice, simple, tidy, bite-sized package.
yes,
tidy and bite-sized.
Tidy and
Yes.
bite-sized. If you're cannibal, which we'll get to in a couple minutes, might not be bite-sized.
Cannibal
Might
fun
be-
size. That means like it's an earlobe.
We'll be getting deep into cannibalism here in a couple minutes, but that's a little spoiler. A little spoiler. It is happening.
Oh,
All
There is
right.
cannibalism happening.
I'm a little peckish.
I
So.
know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick it off, and I am not
Yes.
talking cannibals, but I am going to talk about vampires because I have just finished the new series of Interview with the Vampire.
Wow.
And
I didn't even know there was a new series.
Yes.
by Anne Rice.
The Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire.
What?
It is AMC did it on AMC Plus, their
Oh.
streaming service, and it stars Jacob Anderson, who played Grey Worm in Game of Thrones
Okay.
as Louis, and Sam Reed, who's an Australian actor who's been in all sorts of stuff as Lestat, and it is really, really good. It is gory, much more gory than the original. And they have just taken it and they made it a straight up love story between Louis and Lestat. So no more will they or won't they? They will. They do. And they
Repeatedly.
Welcome to 2023.
welcome to 2023. It is all filmed here in New Orleans. It looks great and it's a lot of fun. I was surprised. I wasn't going to watch it, but it was like, let me give it a shot. Vampires are not normally my thing unless it's the Lost Boys. And I thoroughly enjoyed the season, and it's been renewed for a second season. Hopefully they're working on that now. So I'm going to suggest anybody with AMC Plus, check that out.
And they did
Now.
New Orleans. They did
Yeah.
New Orleans proud.
They did New Orleans pretty proud. It takes place back in the 1800s all the way up until around World War II is when they're filming the first season. And the interviewer is played by Eric Bogosian. So he has definitely a different attitude than Christian Slater, who played the interviewer in the movie.
Right.
So if sexy, gory vampires is not your thing, I have something else for you. And this is a weird little Canadian sci-fi show called Surreal Estate. And this goes hand in hand with How to Sell a Haunted House, which I talked about last week, about a real estate office that specializes in troubled listings and has a team who can like exorcise your house or, cleanse it. And there's a Catholic priest. There's like the tech guy who has his, ghost hunting things. And then there's Susan, who's just the people person who is the closer and seals the deals. So it is very stupid, very sci-fi, but a lot of fun if you want.
And where do you
something.
catch it again?
This one's on Hulu right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Surreal Estate.
Surreal Estate.
Surreal Estate.
Yes, Surreal Estate.
And it's a comedy.
Nice.
It's
Comedy.
not
Oh, it's
supposed
gotta
to be.
be.
I mean,
Oh,
it
really?
has a sense of humor, but it's comedy in the way like Buffy or something was, where sometimes
Okay.
they'll play it straight.
Oh, okay.
It's
So speaking of
Very
Buffy,
silly.
are you going to watch the Sarah Michelle Gellar starring werewolf show?
no.
Yeah.
What? I hadn't heard of that.
I think
Yeah.
there's a reason you hadn't heard of that.
It's
Eric
also
says
on
hard
no.
pass.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a no. No for me, dog, as Randy
All
would
right.
have said. All right, Mike. Cannibals.
I was excited a couple weeks ago. I went to the mailbox and I picked up the new issue of Fangoria. This is if you're a subscriber, and you should be a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, go to Fangoria, type in TST20, get a couple bucks off of your Fangoria needs. But this is the January 2023 subscriber edition. And I, of course, was taken by the cover featuring none other than Leatherface. And there's a fascinating article in here about the making, not the making of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, but the making of the trailer. Yes, there's a whole article dedicated to the making of the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So I had to go out and buy a copy of Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and give it a rewatch, because I'm pretty sure I saw it, but then after I rewatched it, I'm not sure I did. This is a goddamn great movie. It's got Viggo Mortensen. It's got Ken Faree. Kane Hodder is the stunt coordinator.
Wow.
Initially, Peter Jackson was attached to the film because it was done in 1990. Then Tom Savini was attached to the film. Yes.
So this is 3.
This is 3. Yes.
Okay,
This is
because then the
Texas
next
Chainsaw-
the new generation came after. That was 4. McConaughey
That was
and
4,
Zellweger.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. And this was right after New Line acquired from the Cannon Group the Texas Chainsaw rights. They said, we want to take a hard turn back to the original, because the second one was a little jokey, and they said we want to scare the hell out of people again. And so they put together a trailer, which I encourage people to go watch. Go read the Fangoria article. The trailer was done before they even had a director attached to the movie. And so by the time that the trailer came out, people were just like aghast at how awesome the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 was going to be. They hadn't even started shooting. They didn't have a director. They didn't have anything.
Blind faith. That's what that is.
Blind
They
faith.
manifested.
Yep.
That's what we would call it now.
The guy that directed it, Jeff Burr, he also did things like Pumpkinhead 2, Puppet Master 4, Puppet Master 5, all sorts of other garbage. But I'm telling you, this is a great film. Ken Faree plays the hero in the film, and Ken Faree is absolutely awesome in the movie. If you can't get enough Ken Faree, go watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. The Saw is family.
Okay. Well, I am going to drop the veil of this. This is the total pro move here, you guys. This is
Here we go.
Eric's dropping veils.
dropping veils.
Are there
Okay.
7 veils?
Dun, dun, dun. So I had to,
Another veil.
because dropping the veil of the background, because
It's showing.
I have stuff to show. Yes.
Ooh,
So
show and tell.
Yep.
last time we had book reports.
Mhm.
I am bringing
Poster reports. No.
board games.
Oh,
This is-
cool.
This is Vagrant Song, which is really cool. It's a cooperative game where it's kind of like you're hobos on a train in the 1930s.
No, those
on a-
sticks
on a
with the-
Yeah, and so it's got this kind of Cuphead kind of vibe, like or an old, Steamboat Willie kind of a vibe. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to restore the ghost's souls back. And it's got some really fun. The key to this is it's got a story behind it, and it builds, and it's what it is appropriately spooky, not scary.
I see
Mhm.
spooky
but again,
in the
I
title.
do see spooky. It says right
Spooky
there.
is
Spooky.
like prominently featured.
Bone-chillingly. spooky.
Vagrant Song, great the
Who
production
makes
values in
that?
this is by wordgames.net.
Cool.
And it's pretty new, and it's for those of you who know what a legacy game is. This is one that you play, and it's got a campaign. So you play it, and then it builds and it builds and it builds.
Okay.
Fascinating stuff. And then
played it.
Yes, it's great. So
All
I played this with my brother-in-law Alex, and he and I had a blast.
All
and then there's another board game, and this one is a little bit different.
Bring it on.
More show and tell.
I love
My
it.
gosh.
This is Abomination, which is really gross. This is you play
Really gross.
you play an
Andy
assistant.
Warhol's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yes, you are an assistant to Dr. Frankenstein, and you have to go around collecting pieces of corpses however you can get them, which means you go to the graveyard, you dig them up, but sometimes they're kind of gross and it's not really the best quality for a corpse. Or you can murder somebody and lose some humanity doing that, or you can go the best way to do it is you go to you wait for someone to get executed, and then you get the body from there. And then what you try to do is you run a bunch of electrical juice and some magic stuff in there, and you're competing against everybody else who's trying to do the same thing. And it's
an opportunity to include like the operation board, like that's what we need to do. Instead of taking things out, you have to put them in.
Yeah. So this is let's see if I can. They do have some nice kind of gory bits and bobs.
Gory bits.
Does the winner have to sing "Putting on the Ritz"?
They do now. Next time Eric plays.
But well, apologies for not being prepared.
Stay
with all
tuned to
the
the
pieces and parts.
Instagram for some gory bits.
And one of the other things that I would like to do is, since I've got a stack about this high right next to me of a bunch of other board games, and I might just do a video, just showing folks.
That'd be a good idea.
Some horror
There
board
we go.
games. So I
heck?
invite any of you guys who might be curious about that, and you can go, "What's that? What does that do?" And we'll try this whole video shtick and see how it works. Anyways, so Abomination and Vagrant Song, two great new board games.
Nice. Those do look cool. Well, I don't have any show and tell, but I was
Wait a second.
I know.
We didn't understand the assignment, but look at our backgrounds.
The dog ate my show and tell. I was talking to a friend of mine just a few days ago.
Was it me?
It wasn't Eric. His name, he will remain nameless for privacy reasons. So anyway, I was talking to Ben, who's actually a big fan of the podcast, by the way. He listens to every single one of them.
All right. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
And a gentleman.
And he was asking me for recommendations on horror movies. The thing is, he and his wife are not huge gore hounds, right?
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna bring this to the group. And because we are the gateway, to the trends and tropes and a gateway to horror in general, I thought maybe a good addition to just our general movie reviews would be like a gore level. Just like a quick, just like a, don't even talk about it, just putting in like a 5 blood drops or, out of 5 or whatever, and just say, this is super gory. This has no gore in it. Or
5.
Really?
Out of 5?
Okay.
It was originally rated X. When they still had X rating, it was originally rated X.
Whoa.
So my picks then, Interview with a Vampire would be a gore of, I'm going to say a 3, especially for TV. It gets a solid 3. Surreal Estate is a big 0.
Vagrant Song is a 0, and Abomination's about a 3.
Nice.
Wow.
Right.
A 3 on a board game?
Yeah. It's buckets of guts and corpses and severed limbs. It's fun.
So anyway, if we want to add that to the reviews on the site, or
because we
put
did
it to
have
our viewers if they want to.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. What the hey?
At
I
one
like
time
it.
we had the bridge too far level.
Yeah.
I think once
Mhm.
once you get to the I just don't know if I can take it. And it's like, can I do Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer? Can I do and then you get into the Chris Cleveland level
Mm-hmm.
of extreme. Like Liz has got probably the highest tolerance out of the four of us.
Yeah.
So things like Martyrs and À l'intérieur and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. That's we set
That's
some
high
some bridge
gore.
levels. That
I
is
think
high
the
gore.
goriest movie I've ever seen is Terrifier 2, and that was on my best of list for this year. Black
That was
Cat
pretty
crossing
gory.
your path, Mike. Oh my God, this
I
Oh
know.
yes,
thing is
talking about
cursed.
spooky.
This is the spookiest podcast ever.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so let's recap what our picks were. I had 2 TV series, The Interview with the Vampire from AMC Plus, and Surreal Estate, which you can find on Hulu. Mike?
I had the new issue of Fangoria, January 2023, which talks about Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, 1990.
And I had a board game called Abomination and a board game called Vagrant Song.
I like that one.
Spooky.
And
Hobos on a
Robert's making us
train.
do more work.
And we have given us the gore ratings
All right.
per
I gave everyone
Robert's
chores.
request.
So-
Yes,
so, okay,
making
so
us
Robert,
do more work.
Are we gonna make it so we have a 5-star scale and a blood drop scale then?
Or, yeah, or something. Yeah.
Fives and fives that kind of balances these kinds of things out.
And you don't even have to talk about the gore level in the review if you don't want to. It's just a nice visual cue that as people are looking at the movies we're reviewing, if they're going to be grossed out or not.
Someone would have to teach me
Yeah.
where the blood drop on the WordPress is, because
I will forward you the symbol selector where I get my star the
That's what
little
I
star
need.
symbols from. Yep,
that's what I
you can do
need.
that.
All right, so to wrap up this spooky time, in the immortal words of Patrick Bateman, we have to go return some videotapes, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all.
The Masters of Horror.